What's up, guys? I got a tiny TV. It's no secret that I like old tech, and when I saw this itty-bitty TV at a thrift store, I just had to get it. This is a GPX 5-inch black and white AM/FM TV radio combo device. It takes 12-volt power from the wall, or you can use a shitload of outdated batteries in the bottom. But I don't know why you would do that. Now, you might be wondering, Zach, why would you want this? I don't know. I already have a 13-inch CRT that I play a lot of retro games on, so I don't really need this for gaming or anything. I just thought it'd be fun. That does make me kind of wonder though, other than people like me, why would you ever want one of these? Even when these things came out, people had TVs in their homes, and AM/FM radios were cheap and plentiful and way more power efficient. So, what is the purpose of this? Most of the time you're going to see these advertised being used in campers. Because people go camping, I guess, I don't know. But other than that one situation, even when this thing came out, what is the purpose of this? It's so inconvenient, and I don't think that it would come in handy in pretty much any scenario. I don't know though, maybe people did use these. What I do know is that there are hundreds of these. And I don't mean like hundreds of this specific model, I mean hundreds of companies who made almost identical TVs. And they all look like this. There are some other 5-inch displays that look a little cooler. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But this is the model, you know? Anyways, there was a bit of a struggle to get this thing running, because as you can probably see here, it doesn't take modern signals. Now you might have noticed that this thing is sitting on a box, and that's not just because I needed to raise it up to see it better. That's because inside this box are several wires and converters and adapters that are plugged into this TV to get it up and running. If we take a look at this thing, it has an external antenna port and a single RCA jack. Now you might see this and think, oh, it's the old, yellow, red, and white cables. I'll just plug those in and use them. And if you did think that, but no, even though it has an RCA port, it's using RF signal. See, the first signals that TVs used to use were RF, or radio frequencies, and we don't use those anymore. So what we're gonna need is an RF modulator to convert analog signal into RF and then plug it into the TV. But in order to do that, we're also gonna need a coax cable to go from the RF converter into the TV, but you might notice there is no coax cable on this TV. So we're going to need a coax to either 3.5 millimeter adapter or coax to RCA adapter. It doesn't really matter which one. And with all of that, we can now plug in analog devices like retro game consoles, VCR players, camcorders? I don't know. Basically nowadays the only thing you'd plug in with analog is retro game consoles. But what if you need to plug in something modern? Something that uses the HDMI standard? Well, are you in luck? Because we're going to convert the analog signal to HDMI with an analog to HDMI converter box. That's right, we need another converter box. So now we're gonna need a pair of composite cables to go from the RF modulator into the HDMI converter. And with all of that work, you can now plug in modern devices. So let's recap here. You need one TV, a power adapter for that TV, anywhere between 2 to 3 cables, an adapter for the coax cable, 2 converter boxes, and at least 4 power outlets to plug everything in. I think I spent like $40 just to get this thing running, not including the TV, which was like 10-15 bucks. That is not worth it whatsoever. You can go on like Facebook Marketplace and spend anywhere between 20 to 60 bucks and just buy a modern LCD display, and it will look and play 10 times better than this thing. But hey, it looks pretty cool. And of course, the first thing I did when getting this thing up and running was plug it into my PC and played Fortnite on it. And you better believe we got that fat dub. That's right, tiny TV dub. I won't lie, my friends might have carried me through that match, but it doesn't matter, it still counts. Then I played some other games on it, and as you can guess, it didn't work that well. This thing's just way too small and way too low of a resolution to be good at really anything. We are also going through 2 converter boxes and running through a TV that was considered e-waste even at the time that it came out. One of the funny little quirks of using this TV, and I'm pretty sure the problem is with the RF modulator, I might just need to buy a new one, but the audio and video come in at slightly different frequencies. So while I'm sitting here tuning it, I can either tune it for good video quality or good sound quality, but not both. After using it for a few days on the PC, I ended up just sticking it over here and plugging a streaming stick into it. And I've used it a handful of times, but I mean, I've got other TVs I can watch stuff on, so it's just kind of over here now. Like I said, I don't know, I just bought it because I thought it'd be a fun little thing to play with. It might show up in a video or two, but I have no major plans for it. However, I do have major plans for this one. That's right, I found another tiny TV, and I can't get it to turn on. It just has a very oddly sized barrel jack that I can't find online. Also, it takes like reverse power, whatever the fuck that means. I've seen some people get this up and running by just soldering a new barrel jack on it, and I could do that. I do know how to solder, but I think I have a new plan for this thing. See, typically I would hate to like destroy a CRT TV because a lot of retro gamers like using them, and we don't make them anymore, so it's good to try to preserve the ones we got left. But these things suck ass, okay? I don't feel bad about destroying these. So what I think I'm gonna do is gut this thing and turn it into an all-in-one PC. There is one single company currently producing a 5-inch LCD display with a price to match, unfortunately. So I'm thinking we get that, we put it in here, it has an HDMI output, and this thing's kind of big, so what I think we'll do is we'll just stick like a little Nook PC in here, that way you can get the full like Windows experience. Or maybe I'll flash like the Steam Deck OS on it. Whatever, we'll figure out the operating system later, it's not the point. I'm thinking we'll put some new speakers in here, maybe we'll have an HDMI splitter out the back, that way you can plug in anything into this. Really, I just think we'll turn it into like the ultimate little all-in-one PC, especially since up here in the front, unlike this TV, which has very shitty button quality, these are actually like really solid, these are nice, so. But none of that is going to be happening in this video. Maybe once I get the cash I can do that. For now, I just wanted to show off this little guy. I just think it's really neat, and hey, if you're interested in this kind of tech too, maybe me telling you how I got this thing to actually run will be helpful. And if you get lucky, some of these little mini TVs actually do have mono composite, so you could skip a step of using the RF modulator and just go straight from like an HDMI converter to analog, or just plug your old school console right into it. I didn't get that lucky though, so. However, I really don't recommend getting one of these. If you do want a small CRT for any reason, probably playing retro games, I recommend just getting a 13-inch. They're small enough that you can lift them up and carry them as one person, and they are way better. They look better, they sound better. They'll probably just have all the ports you need on it, so. I'll see you later.